can you please tell me your name, pronouns, where you're from, and what you identify as?
Okay, my name's Kree Tremble. Where am I from? Miami, Florida. I'm a trans man. Ew, sounds so official saying it, but um, and what was the last one?
Yeah, what you identify as. I think you answered it.
Okay,
So what was that? What was that little reaction that you had? Feels so professional, you know.
like saying it out loud, like makes it real, and it freaks me out a little bit because like I don't really verbalize it a lot. Like people usually say it for me, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But then when I say it,
So why don't you verbalize it?
I don't know. I think it's I don't like change. I don't like new things, but like it is me. And I guess there's like a little bit of shame, like a smidge.
Really?
Yeah.
So can you talk about the shame a little bit?
Yeah. So I think the like the whole feeling of like being queer like came around like COVID time, and like at first I was like, guys, I'm a lesbian, right? Like this makes sense. um, and then I was like, okay, that's fine, that makes sense. Um, but then like like when I came to Ringling, there was like a huge shift, and I was like, whoa, wait, why don't I like she her anymore? um, and then I guess because of the way like trans people are viewed, it kind of like got projected onto me, and now I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to say the word embarrassing, but it's like an added layer of stress added to my life. Cause like everyone's chill when you're like a lesbian, but then when you say that you're trans, they're like, oh, I don't know. It's like a different reaction that I'm not used to. Like I'm not upset that I'm trans. I'm more upset at like the reaction people give you when they find out, and I'm like, okay, here we go again.
So can you talk about some of those reactions that you get?
Like when I talk to people, you can see it in their eyes when they're trying to figure you out. Like, what the hell are you? And it's kind of off-putting. It makes me like I'm already pretty bad with like eye contact, so like that added layer is like now I don't want to look people in the eyes, cause now oh maybe they're looking at my facial hair, like my facial hair, or like trying to like put pieces together, even though they always default to like she like once we're done with the conversation. Um, but yeah, it's just communicating with people. It makes it a little bit harder. Um, like even with family, it's like some of my family doesn't know, so I'll pull up like this, like how I usually look, and it'll be like, oh, is everything okay? It's like, no, I'm fine. I promise you, I'm fine.
So they say that to you. They actually say like, "Is everything okay?"
It's not like is everything like like verbatim is everything okay, but like one time it was my graduation, and like I didn't want to shave my face because I feel like I look weird when my face is bald, and my mom was like, because we were taking pictures, and my mom was like, you know, gesturing to my face, and I'm like, no, it's fine, ma. I know it's gonna show up in pictures. Like that's the whole point. But she's much better about it now. So, but yeah, it was a learning curve like 4 years ago.
Okay. Um. So, what is it like living in Florida specifically in terms of you being a trans person?
Hmm. Um. It's a little scary. Like when I leave like the Ringling bubble, it's like, oh, like this isn't. I'm not the norm. Cause on campus it's like, oh, you're whatever. It's fine. But like when I leave campus, like it's a little scary, but I have like the privilege of like being like masculine presenting, and nobody like really cares if you're that. So I get away with it. Like it's a little scary going in bathrooms because I don't want like anyone like to yell at me like, what are you doing in here? I don't go in the men's bathroom. I still go in the women's bathroom, but I keep my head down. I wash my hands and I get out. I don't talk to nobody. I really like rush to get in and get out as fast as possible. But it's really like one-on-one like social interactions, not like Of course, I'm worried about like legislation, but it's mostly like smaller interactions that I'm worried about.
Okay. You okay? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that you still use the women's bathroom. Okay, so let me ask you this: as a trans man, how do you express your trans masculinity?
Trans. Um. Uh. I guess through my clothes, cause like my mannerisms are still pretty like I wouldn't. I don't want to say feminine, but it's just like that's who I am. That's who I was like raised around. Like everyone I know is pretty like feminine. Um. But yeah, through like my clothes, my hair, getting a lineup whenever I can. um. Hmm. Growing out my facial hair, like no longer shaving my face, stuff like that. Cause I can't, I'm not able to get on hormones yet, so I have to wait. So I try to do what I can.
Um, why aren't you able to get on hormones?
Um, I talked to my mom about it. She was like fine with it. She was just like, I want you to be like financially independent before you start doing that. But this was maybe like about a year ago, and this was before like everything started like getting banned. So now I'm like, dang, I'm gonna lose my health insurance when I graduate, and on top of that, the legislation, and then like financial situation. So it's like I can't really do it at all. But I wish there's like loopholes and stuff, but I'll get there eventually. Like I've been talking to like the trans guys on campus, like, yo, what are you doing? Like, like we're selling drugs or something. Like it's so crazy that it has to be so hush hush. But that's that's how I'm getting by.
Does it really bother you that um, HRT is like so inaccessible?
Yeah, especially like for like me, it sucks because I started here like 4 years ago, and with like all the trans people that I started with look completely different like now because it's been like 4 years they get to be on HRT and I'm like stuck behind and I feel like oh I look the same and everyone else has like got to go through their second puberty and I'm like I'm still here. Um, but yeah, it hurts because I'm like I seen someone the other day. I'm like, you look completely different. That's crazy. Can I curse on here? That's fucking crazy. um, but yeah, it hurts. It hurts, especially like on like the dysphoric days. It's like, but ooh, I almost forgot. Another way, like I express my masculinity is like I go to the gym. I make sure I go to the gym because if I don't, I end up feeling dysphoric, and like, oh, my hips are too big. Oh, my butt's too big now. Like, I need to like balance it out and be bigger on top than rather like on the bottom. But yeah.
So you experience dysphoria. Um, when did that start?
When I realized I didn't like men anymore, um, like again during COVID, uh, it was like, okay, now you don't like men. What do you want? And I was like, oh snap, what do I want? And I was like, okay, maybe I want to look a little more androgynous. I tried that out, and then I was like, no, let's go a little further. Um, and I was like, why don't I like my chest anymore? Why don't I like my hips anymore? Like, and then once I started leaning more masculine and like starting like to do what I want like for myself, it was like I wasn't getting the attention that you get when you're feminine anymore. So now I was like, okay, now I have to look for like within myself and like see what I want. And I'm like, oof, dang, this sucks. Yeah. I was talking to Lorenzo about like when you're like masculine or like when you're in like more like men, male spaces or whatever, they're not as like kind as like women are. they're not as like expressive, and it's just so lonely. Like I see where there's like a a male like what is it, loneliness epidemic. I'm like, oh my god. Um, why did I forget the original question? I'm sitting here like rambling.
Oh, I actually like. When did you start experiencing dysphoria?
Bingo. It yeah, I would say around COVID, but I guess it always kind of lingered. Like I would mention stuff to my girlfriend, like, oh yeah, like when I was in middle school, like I would dress femme most of the time, but I would need to like dress masculine for like one day out of the week to keep myself sane. And then when I said that, they were like, "That's not normal, sweetie," and I was like, "Oh well, it sounded normal to me." Um, but like when you say it out loud, rather than like keeping it up here, it's like, oh, something's there, but you don't know what it is. Um, I've always been like kind of masculine, like as a kid, but once you're like socialized as like a girl, there's a lot of expectations that you have to do. So I started wearing like skirts and like I think at like the peak of COVID, like I was like hyper femme, but it still wasn't like enough. And I was like, and then I realized what I wanted, and now I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Wow. I think something interesting you said was people treat you differently, like based on like if you're masculine presenting or feminine presenting. I think that's something like you immediately realize, like as you're transitioning or um, presenting androgynous or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, definitely for me, I realized that. Um, have you had any transphobic experiences? Transphobic, homophobic,
Homophobic. Oh,
any
okay.
phobic.
Oh God. Okay, homophobic. I can do. I can do homophobic. Like, people will sniff you out like before you even know. So this was like in like middle school, high school. I was like bi curious at like for a time, um, and like guys would like call me like a dyke, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Hello. um, and I was like, yo, that doesn't like that's not me. Like, what are you talking about? But then like I don't know what it is, but people see it in you, and I'm like, yo, how did y'all know before me? Even if it's like an insult, it's like, damn, that done sniffed me out. Uh, so that would be like my experience with like homophobia, um, and like being called like the F slur in high school. It's like, but it would be from like guys who would want to talk to me, like to date me or whatever, but like they would use it as an insult because they saw that they couldn't get to me, like oh, I can't be with you, so I'm gonna like treat you like shit. um Transphobia, knock on wood, I haven't really like felt like any outward like transphobia. um I guess it would just be like just people who are like ignorant, like oh, they'll call me like she, but then I won't correct them because it's like, I don't know. It's too nerve-wracking to correct people. At least for me, it just makes me nervous, and I'm like again, like verbalizing it out loud is like, ooh. It freaks me out a little bit. Uh, but it happens quite a bit. But you kind of, I guess, I kind of just got used to it, and the responsibility falls on me to correct people. So it's like the ebb and flow of me not saying anything and people saying something. But yeah, those are my experiences.
Can you talk more about that? Like why is it so nerve wracking? Have you have you ever corrected someone?
I think I did once, but it was only because like someone else had started, like someone else had did it, and I felt more comfortable doing it. It was like in one of my classes, and the teacher had like said someone's like incorrect pronouns, and they were like, "Oh, hey, actually, I go by such and such." She was like, "Oh yeah, that's fine. Like if you guys like go by something else, just let me know." I was like, you know what? Hey, me too. But that was 2 years ago, and I don't remember doing it since. Like I have like my friends like do it for me, and I'm very thankful for that. But it's just it's awkward. Like I'm a very like I'm sort of outgoing person, but like when it comes to like Damn, that sounds so whack. Like, oh, when it comes to standing up for myself, I just can't do it.
No, but it's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
I just want to be seen as a person. Like, I don't want to have to tell everybody everything about myself. I just wanted to be seen, which is another reason why I want to go on hormones, so I don't have to say anything. Like, it's in front of you, you know, and call it a day. And if you want to be transphobic, that's on you. But now you see how I present. You know what to say, but I'll get there.
Do you think it's important to have a community? Because I heard you say, well, I heard you say earlier that you feel more comfortable here because there's a queer community here and
Mm-hmm.
people care less about how you present yourself. And then I heard you say um, that you felt more comfortable correcting someone on your pronouns because someone else did
Yeah.
correct theirs. So, can you talk more about like the importance of
Community.
yeah?
It's really helpful when I have it, even though it's mostly white. Yeah, because there's the added layer. Like, some kids here will be like, oh, I'm so glad we're at Ringling. And I'm like, I want to say it, but like, I can't be all in it because it's like, we're not on the same level. Like, people, like, for some of the white, like, queer kids here, people can't tell that they're queer, like, off rip. So it's like, but when they look at me, they're like, oh, okay, you're one of the weird ones.
Wow.
I've literally like heard one of the say that, you know, the light skinned like Hispanic woman. She was talking to me. She was like, "Yeah, I seen you were walking, and I had my mom in the car, and she was like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty," and then her mom was like, "Oh, at least she's not like some of the weird kids there," and I was like, so it's backhanded as fuck. And I was like, oh, and I was like, that's still me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I just didn't. You never know what to say in those moments. So it's like, oh, thank you. Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna have to bleep those names out.
My bad. My bad.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So, well, first of all, in my personal opinion, I think my queerness gets invalidated a lot of the time because I'm black. But
Yeah.
this is not about me. This is about you.
No facts.
So, I actually had this question. How do you think your race plays a part or influences your experience on how people perceive you?
Okay. Personally, I think blackness is already like inherently queer because queerness means you're not normal, like not like the standard. And I'm like, well, duh, yeah, of course, I don't want to be. But community wise, like, I guess because of like so much indoctrination, like no one's gonna be like, black people are not gonna be like, oh, come, let's welcome you with open arms. They're like, no, you're ruining it for the rest of us. That's why we don't have rights. And it's like, I'm not the reason you don't have rights, sweetie. But personally, like, I don't think my blackness invalidates like my queerness. Like, I think if they have no choice but to go together. I don't want to. I only put my blackness first because that's what you see first. Well, you kind of see them both at the same time, but that's what I've known first. That's what I felt first, and then I'm just now like accepting the queer aspect of myself. So if someone asks me, they're at the same time. But right now, blackness first, and then queerness second. Cause like even in my work, like on the wall, like all my stuff is like black. Like I don't think I've done like, unless it's a drawing of me and my partner, I don't think I've done like black queer art, which is so crazy to say. That's so, that's so embarrassing. Oh my god. Okay. Well, okay, I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna do that.
Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you. Do you have anything that you want to share? Do you have anything that you want to say?
Put yourself first. Oh my God, like, stop worrying about like it's so like like cliche, but like literally do what the fuck you want to do. Like it's so you're wasting like your whole life worrying about motherfuckers who don't know you, don't give a shit about you. Do what you want, please, for the love of God. I don't even believe in him, but like, oh my God, please. But yeah, that's mostly a message to myself. But yeah.
Okay. Is there any political cause that you want to bring light of?
Free Palestine.